Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us across the fence. I'm Fran Stoddard. There's no single word that describes a good teacher. We know that good teachers have broad knowledge of what they teach and that they bring enthusiasm, a caring attitude, and a love of learning to their students. Good teachers also want to make a difference in the lives of others. On this program, we often share stories about good teachers, which is what we're going to do today. You're about to meet an agricultural educator who spent 32 years at a Vermont high school. Over the years, he's been taking students around the country and the world to focus on service and humanitarian work, as well as creating lasting friendships. Marco Ayala tells us more.
After a long career teaching at the Woodstock Union High School, John Hiers' plans for retirement were nothing but ordinary.
I began teaching at the Woodstock Union High School back in 1993. I had been there 5 years as a groundskeeper and also substitute teacher. So I've had a wonderful career there teaching horticulture and forestry. As I began thinking about retirement, I always wanted to go into the Peace Corps or something like that, Habitat for Humanity. So my wife had suggested, well, maybe you would think about continuing on with your experience of travel and service and agriculture by developing the nonprofit, which we named Trees and Seeds. It's a name we developed to kind of encapsulate the agriculture background, not only to my career, but to the program that I've been teaching. And so trees are very important for these different communities of need. They provide food, they provide shade, they provide erosion control, they provide wildlife habitat.
Carrie Bristow, Vice President and co-founder of Trees and Seeds, has taken part of many of these trips and quickly realized that the human factor is just as important as the service aspect of it.
We realize that you can offer work anywhere. You can do work anywhere in your own community from there and on out. But it's getting to know people that really makes the work more meaningful. And I realize that getting to know broader groups of people just helps us all with our own cultural understanding of ourselves, as well as opening up our eyes to see that how different people work and live. And that in the end, almost all of us have the same goals. We want to have a happy life. We want to have a family around us and friends, and we want to have enough to be comfortable to live with.
I really found from my experiences that students really like to travel with a purpose. And so we began doing a lot of trips with service-oriented projects in mind. And so we have been to Peru several times with students from high school. And we worked on the Amazon doing different projects, building schools and also medical clinics. To be planting the first tree for Trees and Seeds. We plan to plant a lot of fruit trees in a bigger field over here. Well, we had a wonderful trip to Malawi. There was about 27 of us all total on that particular trip. And we spent over 2 weeks in the community where we not only planted trees, but we had good relationships within the community.
I was taking horticulture with Mr. Hiers, and he reached out to me and expressed interest in how much he thought I would like the trip. So I looked more into it and ended up filling out an application and getting in.
Kelly Jackson is one of the many students that have taken part in these trips, and the social interactions with the locals proved to be one of her favorite parts of the experience.
Say hi! I know that Ms. Bristow and Mr. Hiers really wanted to push that social interaction by bringing like people into agriculture and connecting them with the community. Like a lot of times we'd be in the villages showing the kids how to plant a tree and how like this works and that works. And we also had that huge language barrier when we were there because all the kids and the people in the villages don't speak English. So we had to try to use our body language and use like hand gestures and all that kind of stuff to really connect agriculture with the community.
We've taken hundreds of students on trips, and they have, to a person, always come back and told us how meaningful it was, how it opened their eyes, how they realized how privileged that we were as Americans to be able to go to these countries and work with people. And our goal was never to come into any place and say, this is what you need. It was more, what do you need? And how can we help you achieve that goal?
We found that not only students, but any age really got a lot out of these experiences. We found that it was kind of equal in rewards for both the people we were helping in the community and also for the participants.
We went for 2 weeks to Malawi and we went to many different villages, orphanages. We planted lots of trees, worked on water like capture systems. We like played with the kids, like read books. In Malawi, you just see a whole different side of the world. Like I'd never really experienced how the other side of the world lived until going to Malawi and seeing how all these people just have a different way of life than we do. Like it's so different.
And even though their way of life is quite different, Carrie recognizes those differences is what gives them the opportunity to connect and make a difference.
The mission is trees and seeds. What we think of is we planting trees with seeds, but we're also planting seeds of, cultural understanding. It's cultivating hearts and soil. That's why we started. It wasn't just simply to go plant trees, because we could just send the money and have the people there plant the trees. It was really to broaden our perspective as Americans to say, we're people who are interested in you and your country, and we want to help you because we can.
Nurturing those common bonds with people across the world has proven to be rewarding for the participants.
We visit a lot of orphanages, and our students just fell in love with a lot of the orphans that are in these different schools, from being like an infant all the way up to teenagers. And they were very touched by it. It's just an amazing experience. It makes it all worth it for me.
So I think the most rewarding thing for me was being in the orphanage. So there was this one orphanage that we went to. I was sitting with a little kid on my lap, and the head, like the leader of the orphanage, was explaining how these kids were abandoned, left on the side of the road. It was just super emotional because now the kid is doing so well.
For me, the connection is the people and helping people, working with people, understanding better how their lives are, and having the common bond of humanity, basically, for me, is what is the most rewarding part of it.
So our plan was to be there again this year, but the virus has postponed that trip until next year. And we're formulating a group to go back and develop projects, more projects. So we've let them know that we're here to stay and see our plans through. So some of these projects may be developing wells for clean drinking water and crop irrigation, maybe teaching new methods of growing maybe 3 crops in a year instead of 1, better mulching practices, permaculture, along with planting native fruit trees. Plan to build a greenhouse when we go back next year, so better care for the seedlings that we're doing. And 2 other important things we're looking at for long range is developing new fuel alternatives instead of them cutting down trees for firewood and cooking each day, we're trying to develop corn pellets, pressing these corn stalks into fuel.
And even though as a small nonprofit they face challenges, they have big plans for the future.
The financial piece is probably the biggest challenge for us because we just don't have a whole lot of, we don't have much overhead. But we also don't have a lot of funds to say offer scholarships to students or others who would like to travel but don't have the the funding.
We're young and we're just getting our feet underneath us, but we also have ideas of working here in the United States, doing the environmental projects, trees, planting trees like in Yellowstone. We've contacted Yellowstone National Park. Maybe going back to Peru and continuing to develop projects, agriculture projects along the Amazon River. We don't want to just focus ourselves or keep ourselves in one place. As we grow, we hope to travel many different places from the United States around the world.
Trees and Seeds is changing lives abroad and helping young minds understand the importance of kindness and appreciation for the things they have, as well as the social responsibility of helping others.
This experience honestly changed my life. I look at the things that we have here in the US and the things that we experience so much differently. It just gave me so much gratitude towards these people because they have nothing compared to what we have and they're so happy, and I think every kid should have to experience how the other half of the world lives.
In South Hero, I'm Marco Ayala for Across the Fence.
For additional information about Trees and Seeds, including updates on future trips, check the website we've listed on your screen. It's treesandseeds.org. And that's our program for today. Once again, thank you for joining us Across the Fence. I'm Fran Stoddard. Stay well.